Fayette County right now and go into the Bear Grove area. Now, one good news on that most recent scan, it starts to look like it not as great on our correlation coefficient at the moment, but this will likely continue to that northeasterly track going towards the Sharon area, as well as going towards maybe just north of Vandalia. We also got Ramsey in the path of this, so if you're in Fayette County, we had a tornado confirmed on the ground just a couple scans ago. It was definitely more prominent between the Greenville and Mulberry Grove area, going just north of I-70, and it's continuing that track. Looks like it's starting to push even into very, very south eastern portion of Montgomery County as well. So Sharon, you need to be in your storm shelter if you're in the path of this. Ramsey, you need to be in your storm shelter if you know people that are along the Route 51 area as well. You need to be indoors, putting most walls between you and outdoors as possible. And we're going to continue to monitor it. We'll go back up to the other tornado warning in our area, and we'll be tracking the one all the way in Iroquois County. Not a whole lot showing up on our correlation coefficient. We'll see if we get velocity back up for you guys here from the Lincoln office area. Yeah, so that is definitely good rotation being shown, especially for how far away it is on radar right now. It is probably 4,000 to 5,000 feet elevated up because we're pretty far away from the Lincoln radar that's all the way out in Lincoln, Illinois. Actually, this is Chicago radar, actually, because this is, I believe, in the Chicago National Weather Service office area for issuing warning. So this is not a confirmed, but is radar indicated. So this is something to definitely keep an eye on south of the Woodland Junction, Milford. And then as we go back down and look at our other area, this is towards we got another tornado warning just south of Fayette County now. But we also have this tornado that was confirmed at one moment. We'll try to get that back up for you to show you our correlation coefficient. And we'll be tossing it over to our other meteorologist, Darren Leeds, here very shortly. We'll give you guys one last glimpse. Not a whole lot, but definitely a couple scans ago, it was 100% definitely confirmed on the ground going through the North Mulberry Grove area. We'll keep an eye on it as we go throughout this afternoon into the early evening. The rest of the region, we don't really have a whole lot besides the Champaign area under a radar indicated considerable tag with wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour in that area, as well as portions of DeWitt and Piatt and Vermilion County. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning with 70 mile per hour wind gusts. But right now, main concern is down towards the Fayette County area. It looks like that has picked up a little bit, but if I would say if anywhere to really be near on, I would definitely keep an eye on Ramsey.
Live from our studios, you're watching Fox Illinois News at 5:30.
Good evening. As we come on air this evening, part of our viewing area is under a tornado warning. So let's go to meteorologist Darren Leeds right away. Darren.
Yeah, and Eliza, tornado warning currently in effect down around Bond, Fayette, and even small corner of Montgomery County. That is until 6 p.m., so the next half an hour. And we have actually gotten confirmation from St. Louis National Weather Service that there is a confirmed tornado on the ground. They were pinpointing it just kind of north of the Mulberry Grove area. You can kind of see this area of, if you will, a little bit of a storm intake where, yeah, we are kind of indicating where that tornado might exactly be. But latest storm velocity maybe has it kind of centered closer to around just far western Fayette County at this point in time. We're on the very southern reach of our Lincoln radar site right now, so trying to kind of pick up on just the outskirts of these scans. But yeah, that blue would probably be a pretty good indication to me on where exactly we are seeing this confirmed tornado. So it does look like it is kind of steering on the north side of Interstate 70 and away from the Vandalia area, but could likely be pushing its way over towards Ramsey around northern Fayette County as we are watching this storm work its way off towards the northeast. I'm going to jump off here so we can get a little bit more specific, see if we have a new report coming in, or the latest information available from our National Weather Service offices that continue to track this. So once again, we do have a confirmed tornado on the ground. Right now, it does look like it is kind of centered north of the Vandalia area in Fayette County. And right now we are under that tornado warning until 6 p.m. Let me get the latest information, as we are seeing these updates come fairly often. But yes, we did have a confirmed tornado about 14 minutes ago. It was located over Greenville and moving pretty quickly northeasterly at 60 miles per hour. Law enforcement down there actually spotted this, confirmed it, and called it in. But definitely looking like it is now progressing northeast of Mulberry Grove. So continuing to push its way now into Fayette County. It is now out of the Bond County area. But other areas that likely will be impacted by this, see, now we're just seeing that tornado warning issued for purely Fayette County now. We've kind of dropped it around the Bond County area. But let's see if we can get a newer scan. So this is where I'm watching right now. So right next to Sharon at this point in time. So if you're in Sharon, Ramsey, Loudon area, this is making its way towards you. This is going to be the time where you're going to want to get to your safe place, get to the most interior part of your home or the lowest level. If you have a basement, the basement is going to be the best spot, the safest spot. Just make sure you are avoiding windows, because flying debris is going to be the #1 cause of injuries, especially with tornadic storms and with strong wind events like what we've kind of been seeing here across central Illinois. I'm going to jump over to our debris detector, but again, this is kind of pinpointing that area where we are going to be likely still seeing that tornado on the ground. And as I mentioned, it is moving to the northeast at 60 miles per hour. So continuing its movement, if it does continue to make its way, say, up into Shelby County, then we could be seeing Herrick area, Dry Point, Holland get influence from this as we're heading past the 6 o'clock hour. But right now, areas in its path are going to be Carson, and that is closer to the 6 o'clock hour. 5:59 is what radar is estimating it at. So that is about the next 25 minutes. So Carson area, Herrick, Dry Point, I want you guys to get to your safe place, most interior part of your home. If you've got a basement, get into your basement now. This is a very dangerous storm. And once again, we did have a confirmed tornado on the ground by law enforcement down in Bond County. We have now seen this storm push its way over into Fayette County and just north of Vandalia, just north of the Sharon area. Again, in this little highlighted spot that I'm currently looking at, where we're seeing these areas of dark blue mixed inside of that lime green, if you will. But now we do start to see that a little bit of extension just on the south edge of Ramsey. So any outlying areas between Ramsey and the Sharon area, you guys are in the path of this storm, and we have been seeing it whip these winds up pretty much in excess of 60 and 70 miles per hour over the course of the last couple of hours. These storms kind of been strengthening up a little bit as we've seen them progress their way from Missouri and over here into central Illinois. Correlation coefficient, or fancy word for the debris detector, not picking up on a ton. What we see is that pure red, that is going to be more rain. When we start to get more of these mixed colors in here, some yellows, some shades of green, if you will, that's going to be a good indication that there is something else in there that is not rainfall. So it's picking up dust, dirt, debris, kind of anything that tornadic storm is grabbing and circulating and carrying with it as it continues to progress its way towards the northeast. But again, best area again is what I'm thinking is north of Sharon, between Ramsey, but kind of starting to extend its way into the far southern edge of the Ramsey area. I'm going to jump over to our National Weather Service St. Louis office. I want to see if they've got some newer updates for us. So, just a couple minutes ago, they were talking about the debris detection around the Mulberry Grove area has lifted. So they were talking that they are still currently seeing strong rotation, but it does look like this storm system is progressing its way out of Bond County and over into Fayette County. Strong rotation still ongoing right now north of Vandalia, which is what we kind of talked about. And with our storm tracks, we can kind of pick up on those areas of rotation. And it does look like even behind this system, starting to see a little bit more of some areas of rotation closer to the Shoal Creek area, down around southern Montgomery County and northern Bond County, right on the edge there. But once again, now we're tracking that cell that is pushing its way right around Ramsey. Still looking at this storm cell making its way northeasterly at 60 miles per hour. Most recent update just a couple minutes ago. Now it appears that the tornado has lifted, but this severe thunderstorm still capable of producing another tornado. Starting to pick up speed a little bit. Now we've got it clocked at moving northeast at 65 miles per hour, but we are only seeing radar indicated rotation at this point in time. It does look like that tornado has lifted off the ground, but it was around Mulberry Grove and around the Sharon area over the last 5 to 10 minutes. So other locations that are likely going to be impacted by this cell as it continues to make its way towards the northeast, and we're starting to see other spots of rotation here as well. Again, these systems that we've got coming through, very dynamic, but our storm track is trying to pick up on the strongest areas of rotation that it can. And as we talked about, if that tornado is kind of lifted and we no longer have a confirmed tornado on the ground in northwestern Fayette County, then our storm track starting to kind of pick up on that next area of potential, which again, you can see this spinning orange yellowish arrow here just north of Interstate 70 to the northwest of Avina and just east of Sharon. That's going to be our next area of concern that where we could possibly see another tornado get spawned by this severe thunderstorm. So again, it kind of keeps flip-flopping between these two areas. It looks like we're kind of seeing weakening and strengthening rotation in this system, but indicative that yes, it was strong enough where we had that tornado on the ground, but now with it starting to weaken a little bit more, we are starting to see that re-strengthening. Our atmosphere today has been very dynamic as far as just the potential for severe weather. We've been seeing damaging winds around 70 miles per hour. That's been some of the highest reports that we've actually gotten. Hail sizes have reached between 1 to 2 inches here, and this is our one confirmed tornado that was on the ground. But again, we've seen a number of tornado warnings over about the last several hours across central Illinois, anywhere as far north as say the Iroquois County area. Now this is farther south down along Interstate 70 around Fayette County, and we've also saw a couple of those tornado warnings over around Macon County and the Decatur area. But yes, these storms continue to kind of weaken, strengthen, but definitely very much continuing to kind of see that activity happening where we are seeing that tornado get lifted, but we are still now beginning to see more areas of rotation within that. And you can kind of see that little bit of a hooking in some of our radar returns here on that rain. So trying to see, because this is now flirting between our two designated forecast office coverage areas. We're pretty much on that line between Fayette County falls under the St. Louis office jurisdiction, and Shelby County, Effingham County falls under our Lincoln office jurisdiction. But it does look like we're now starting to see a secondary or an extension of that tornado warning for Effingham and Shelby County. And this one is going until 6:30 p.m. Again, radar indicated, so this is going to be coming off this same cell that we've been talking about for about the last 10-15 minutes or so. But this area of rotation is what we're going to be keeping our eye on. So western and central Shelby County, you can kind of see you guys would be in that path track. So Dry Point, Shelbyville area, you guys would also be under the influence from this, and maybe even if it continues to progress through Shelby County over into Moultrie County, we could also begin to see this maybe impacting the Sullivan area. But it's going to be this area of rotation that we're seeing north of Ramsey now. You can kind of see some slight hooking, but that's going to be kind of extending over into Shelby County, and even the southern edge of this is going to start to track its way up into far northern Effingham County. So again, I want to try and get you as much up-to-date information as I can and kind of jump between our National Weather Service reports between Central Illinois and between our St. Louis office, because that's where they're going to keep everything updated. So let us see if we have the newest information for Fayette County. And then we'll take a look at Shelby and Effingham. So we still got the tornado warning in effect for Fayette. That's until 6 p.m. So about 17 more minutes. Again, that tornado did lift once it kind of came close to the Sharon area. We no longer had that tornado on the ground, but we are still picking up on rotation within that thunderstorm as we've been talking about. And that's what I was discussing is now beginning to trigger the next line of tornado warnings for Shelby County and, again, northern Effingham County as this cell continues to make its way into our Lincoln office jurisdiction. But it does look like Dry Point, but again, moving northeast at 65 miles per hour, it's going to be going pretty quickly. And we're going to just see who all is going to kind of be in the path of this going over about the next hour, hour and a half or so. So Dry Point, once again, you guys are likely going to be starting to see this tornadic activity, this rotation within the storm kind of centered over you about 6:15. Shelbyville, closer to about 6:40. Richland area, closer to about 6:50. And just want to have one last look at what we're seeing with our velocity with this cell. So again, we're on the southern reaches of our radar site. So we don't get the best data, but this very good indication, this little area of kind of sky blue within the green is where we're going to see that strongest rotation within this. So kind of centered right between Ramsey, Loudon, Sefton, and Dry Point, but making its way northeastward. So Shelby County is going to start to be influenced by this. It does look like it is going to scrape just far northwestern Effingham County, but does look like Shelby County area is going to be our next area of concern as we continue to watch this storm progress towards the northeast. We've still got our other meteorologist, Matt Bednar and Cheryl Lemke with me here. And guys, what are you seeing? Oh.
Eliza, just about 20 minutes ago, heavy rain came down, but now it has slowed down and winds have picked up. You can also hear thundering and see lightning. I'm going to step to the side out of the frame right now so you can see the road conditions. Cars are still on the roads, but you can feel the temperature dropping. The National Weather Service is urging everyone to stay weather aware, meaning have a plan in place and keep weather radio handy. If a tornado strikes, head to the lowest level of your home and stay away from windows. In case of power outages, experts say to make sure your phones are fully charged so you can report that outage. We'll keep you guys updated. Back to you.
Yeah, so once again, thank you, Brianna, for that report around the Champaign area. Our main spot of concern down around Fayette County, now turning into Shelby County and over into Effingham County. It's hard to hear things sometimes, but we did have that area of rotation still making its way into northern Fayette County. The tornado not currently on the ground anymore. It appears that it kind of lifted once it made its way closer to Sharon down around Fayette County, but now we're centering closer to northern Fayette County area, and now that tornado warning has begun to shift and we're starting to see an extension of it make its way over into Shelby County. But this storm still very dynamic, potential for it to produce another tornado because it already has a history of producing tornadoes. And as we've seen these storms kind of work their way closer to Interstate 57, some of our far eastern counties, east of 55 specifically, we've really started to see that environment kind of support more of that intensification with these cells. But we have also been seeing our hail sizes kind of drop off a little bit here more recently. Earlier with that line that was coming through along I-55, we were getting reports of up to 2-inch size hail in diameter. Lately with these cells, we've been kind of seeing that drop off to around 1 inch, so quarter size and a little bit smaller than that. But we've been seeing that rotation really kind of start to ramp up within this line of storms as it continues to come through. So latest check, we did have this area just north of Vandalia by about 10 miles centered around Ramsey, and it is now going to begin to progress its way over into Shelby County. So Shelby County, you are under that tornado warning until we get to 6:30 this evening. It does look like that that warning box, kind of staying to the south of the Shelbyville area, but Dry Point, Strasburg, Prairie are all within that warning box and kind of in the line of where this storm cell is going to continue to progress. But just about 10 minutes ago, we got an update. Storm still moving at 65 miles per hour to the northeast, and still it is kind of centered right around our border of Fayette and Shelby County. So pretty much right between Dry Point and Ramsey, and it's going to be this area where we're seeing that warning box kind of continue to extend from. So we're going to go ahead and throw our tracker on here. And again, Herrick, you guys are likely already seeing that, and if not, you are going to be seeing it in the next couple of minutes here. Dry Point, after the 6 o'clock hour, have you clocked at 6:10 if our storm continues to progress at the speed that it was just being reported at. Clarksburg area, 6:26, Prairie at 6:39, and Windsor at about 6:55 if we do see this cell continue to get extended past its current expiration time of 6:30. So want to jump back over to our velocity, and we still continue to see points of very strong winds and likely a little bit of some rotation in there. East of Ramsey, south of Dry Point, once again, we're going to be looking for that color change to happen. We've got green that is going towards our radar site. Right now, we're still feeding off of the Lincoln area, but pretty large swath where we are still seeing those stronger winds pushing their way through Avena at this point in time. did have those clocked between about 60 and 70 miles per hour. And once again, our storm velocity giving us a very good idea of where exactly we are seeing rotation within that thunderstorm itself. So now that we're kind of starting to see that extension happen into the Shelby County area, pretty much right over Dry Point, we're seeing a little bit of rotation. We're seeing this broader swath down into Fayette County and north of Avina, north of Interstate 70, but kind of tracking along Interstate 70. That is likely where we're seeing some of those stronger winds pushing their way through, and with these straight line winds also have the potential to do quite a bit of damage on their own, even if there is not a confirmed tornado on the ground at this point in time. So also wanted to go check our debris detector, our correlation coefficient once again, and just to see if we are seeing some dirt, some dust, something also being kicked up by this. Not really seeing good indications of it. Essentially, again, the dark reds are going to be pure rain, but when we start to get those color mixes happening, that would probably be a good indication that there's something else besides just rain that we're being picked up on the radar. So whether it's dirt, dust, debris, you know, whatever those winds are kind of picking up and pushing, that's giving us the really good idea also of where we could possibly see a tornado forming. But right now, no confirmed tornado. We are just picking up on rotation within that storm cell. Let's go back out to our live radar. Right now, everything else extending from around the Ford, Iroquois County area, just still a couple severe thunderstorm warnings. And then we've got those couple of tornado warnings. Fayette County set to expire here in about 7 minutes. Still just radar indicated rotation. Hail sizes reported at 1 inch or less. So a quarter to about pea size. 1 inch hail, 1 inch hail is being reported still around Effingham and Shelby County. And again, Dry Point area, that's where we've kind of been seeing that activity right around you, or that greatest area of rotation. That is also where we are seeing some of the heavier rainfall extending from south of Shelbyville through Dry Point, down through Loudon, and still down into Fayette County as well. We're still under that tornado warning, even though we've seen that tornado lift about 20 or so minutes ago. We're still picking up on rotation, so tornado still possible for this storm to produce. But right now, it's mainly been rain, so strong straight line winds, and those hail stones that could be around 1 inch at the most. But we have been seeing those hailstones kind of beginning to drop off here recently. These storms kind of soaking up quite a bit of some energy. Latest updates still about 5:39. I'm going to jump over onto our National Weather Service office reports and seeing if we did have any new reports from them to pass along. So Fire Protection District in Coffeen, so Bond County, they did confirm a tornado passed through Bond County, moved over into Fayette County, but then we did, as we talked about, it did lift. So that tornado no longer on the ground, but did have some photos passed along of that tornado on the ground over to our National Weather Service office in St. Louis. So now we have that tornado warning for Shelby and Effingham County, and as we've talked about, pretty good amount of rotation picking up in this cell. And that's going to be the area of concern where we could be seeing it potentially spawn another tornado. It does also seem like we're beginning to see maybe a few additional points of slight hook just north of Dry Point. Switching over to our radar blend here rather than our live Doppler radar. But still, it does look like areas of rotation kind of starting to drop off a little bit more, especially in that southern Shelby County area and in and around Dry Point, but we still kind of see some broader areas of wind and rotation around eastern Fayette County and pushing over into western Effingham County. So Effingham, you guys are not under that tornado warning box. It is for the northern, just small section of the county, but also likely going to be encountering the potential for that 1-inch hail and the winds that we've been seeing around 60 to 70 miles per hour. Still no recent update to pass along just yet from the National Weather Service or any kind of emergency managers down around that area, but we remain under that tornado watch until 10 p.m. this evening. You do notice we've started to see some of those tornado watches get dropped, especially around Sangamon, Logan counties, but still remain in effect in our spots where we have been still seeing that line of storms kind of continue to come through. But radar still indicating some strong rotation within that line of storms as it's progressing into from Fayette into Effingham and now into parts of southern Shelby County. But very large area of those storms extending from Kankakee, south of Lake Michigan, all the way along I-57 and down towards I-70, even over towards St. Louis. So these storms still packing a little bit of a punch at this point in time. We've got a handful of severe thunderstorm warnings. Now it does look like we're starting to see eastern Christian County and now northern parts of Shelby County getting issued under another severe thunderstorm warning. Let's try and just punch that one in if we can. So again, these storms still producing 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1-inch hail. Not seeing the considerable tags like we were seeing earlier with some of these cells, but we do still have that tornado warning in effect until 6:30 p.m. Will expire for Fayette County in about the next 2 minutes.
Live from our studio in Springfield, you're watching News Channel 20 at 6.
Thanks so much for joining us this evening. We are following a long line of storms this all afternoon, really.
It has been a very busy afternoon into the evening hours as there's been several warnings posted throughout the day, including some tornado warnings.
Yeah, and even here at the station, we've seen the effects of these storms, and our tower camera was struck by lightning. You can see the exact moment that it hit the camera.
Yeah, our Spencer Davis is in Lincoln where buildings were damaged. But first, we do want to head to Chief Meteorologist Cheryl Lemke.
Tracking a large swath of showers and thunderstorms that are still holding intact, and on top of the severe weather that we've been seeing, most recently we've had some tornado warnings too that are continuing even as we speak. So right now the most concerned area that we're dealing with is over the south central part of the state here, south central part of our viewing area. We're still seeing this nasty squall line that's basically extending from Ford and Iroquois County down through the south here, down towards the I-70 corridor. But it's this area in particular that we're watching very closely. If you can look closely over the last few radar updates here, you can kind of see these little twisting motions taking place along that line of thunderstorms. Well, that's indicating that we do have some circulation, some rotational loft, so to speak, and that's what's prompted our latest tornado warning. So we have tornado warnings right now for Fayette County. We also have tornado warnings too for parts of Shelby and Effingham counties as well until at least 6:30. So please, if you live in Fayette, Effingham, or Shelby counties, you want to seek shelter immediately. Go to the lowest level of your home and go into an interior room and stay away from windows because, of course, there can be flying debris. We've had these thunderstorms so far today have had a history of producing isolated tornadoes, but we've also seen some damaging wind gusts with winds at times being clocked over 70, 75 miles per hour, and we've also seen some large hail too. So this is a multifaceted complex of storms right now, with the worst of the worst, again, bearing down on Fayette, also too for Effingham and Shelby counties. Now this all started off, there was an actually confirmed tornado around the Greenville area, and as that thunderstorm area started lifting to the north and east, we're still seeing circulation. It's not actually confirmed at this point, but We're still seeing enough circulation, which is allowing us to allow those tornado warnings to continue at this point. So right now it's Fayette, Effingham, and Shelby County still under tornado warnings until 6:30 for this evening. What you're looking at now is the velocity mode, and we look at shades of greens and reds, and typically the red means the winds are going away from the radar site, the green means the winds are going towards the radar site. We're kind of seeing these color circulations and these little couplets, and we've been seeing some active weather out there. Here's Dry Point, here's Shelbyville, but we're seeing some signs of circulation here, and it's all moving off to the north and east. So again, we're watching it very closely, because again, we've seen these thunderstorms definitely producing isolated tornadoes. Now in this projected course, as these thunderstorms move out from the Dry Point area, a heads up for those of you around Richland at 6:18, these tornadic thunderstorms could be bearing down on your area. Meanwhile, too, for Big Spring at 6:21, and then around the Whitley area about 6:28 for this evening. So again, these thunderstorms are moving generally off in the northeast pretty quickly. We're seeing that they're moving at speeds around 60, 65 miles per hour or so. So the winds are going to be a big issue because the thunderstorms themselves are traveling pretty fast, and those strong winds can get translated right down to the surface. So there could be some straight line damaging winds, which can cause a lot of structural damage, and also down trees and power lines. So winds, isolated tornadoes, and definitely the chance to see some large hail too. So multiple concerns right now going on across the region. So again, at this point, as we were mentioning, Effingham and Shelby County still under tornado warnings for the next at least 25 minutes or so until the bottom of the hour at 6:30. So please seek shelter immediately. So we have some very active weather here for sure. Along with me too, we have Matt Bednar. Matt, what are you seeing from your perspective?
Yeah, just some very broad rotation still being detected right now. Like you said, Cheryl, we've had confirmed tornadoes on the ground from this storm earlier on today, especially around the Greenville area, making its way towards Mulberry Grove. So these storms in the past have produced tornadoes, so definitely something you want to keep an eye on. We also got towards the Lone Grove area on the very southeastern portion of Fayette County. We also have a tornado warning that goes into continues to be in effect for the next 27 minutes until 6:30, including also our northern edge of Fayette County as well, also going into 6:15. So you have another 12 minutes, and then all the way out towards the Effingham and as well as the Shelby County area, especially if you're living in Prairie. You want to keep an eye on this system as we have the circulation right here starting to near Beecher City, and that's where we're keeping an eye on as we have some of that rotation being detected right now on radar, and it's moving pretty much directly to the northeast. Go over the last couple scans. You can kind of see that intensify, those darker green colors moving towards the Beecher City area, and then eventually down the road that would go towards the Prairie area. So you want to keep an eye on this system. Over the weekend we had these same areas get impacted by these very strong storms. So very similar situation, really similar situation. I believe we have a photo from the tornado from the Greenville area. If you can see right there, you can see in the middle of your screen, we have that condensation funnel going all the way to the ground. We had it definitely detected on radar, but now we have images coming in. This is coming in from one of the people that worked at the Water Resource Office, and this came in as they were driving through the area and they saw the tornado on the ground. So this same storm is warned right now that's impacting the Shelbyville, not the Shelby County area, as well as northern portions of Effingham County, and this will continue to go until 6:30 p.m. So this is the same storm that produced that tornado earlier. If we go all the way back, you can kind of see that velocity all the way by the Greenville area earlier in this storm. And as it made its way towards the northeast, it continued that track, very intense rotation going north of Vandalia between Ramsey, and now it's going all the way towards Beecher City and closing in on Prairie. So if you are in the path of this storm, as well as Strasburg, you need to be in your storm shelter. Once again, that's the most interior room of your building. If you're in a single floor, if you're in a mobile home, you need to find a different place to go. If you're in your car on any of these interstates or highways or routes, Illinois routes, you need to be in your out of your car, finding a more sturdy building. And if you can't find anything, find a low-level ditch, and that's where you want to go and lay in, and then don't go under overpasses. That is a really bad way to get yourself hurt in any of these scenarios. Cheryl?
I kind of want to give you a broader perspective of what's been going on now. Even though Sangamon County really got pummeled and hammered by some really intense weather earlier this afternoon, right now basically the western part of our viewing area is no longer under the tornado watch, but in all the counties now shaded in yellow. So it's mainly from around around Montgomery and Macoupin counties and extending all the way up towards the I-57 corridor, you're still in the thick of things. So there's still that possibility of seeing more tornadic thunderstorms as the evening goes on. So officially that watch goes into effect until 10 o'clock tonight. But meanwhile, the most intense area right now is over the south central part of our viewing area, as you can see, and that's around the Effingham area and around I-70. And so that is indeed where our latest tornado watches and tornado warnings have been continuing in this area. Again, we have tornado warnings that continue currently. This is for Effingham County and for Shelby County too until 6:30 for tonight. We've been seeing, this is all Doppler radar indicated, but there was an actual confirmed tornado there in Bond County that was right around the Greenville area earlier today. But since then, we've been seeing just a lot of circulation, a lot of rotation, which is prompting our latest series in tornado warnings that we're seeing right now. So we have tornado warnings, multiple ones in effect, still for Fayette County, tornado warning in effect until 6:30. And then we have more tornado warnings too for Effingham and Shelby counties until 6:30 for tonight. Now, on top of the threat for tornadic thunderstorms, we're also seeing the possibility for some hail. They're saying that the hail could be about 1 inch in diameter. So that's about quarter-size hailstones, and we could also see some strong damaging winds where the winds could be clocked over 70 miles per hour. So a lot of activity, especially here close to Effingham and also to places like just west of Effingham around the Mound vicinity, stretching over towards Dry Point, Prairie, Strasburg. We're seeing all these strong thunderstorms again lifting off in your direction. These thunderstorms are generally moving off to the northeast at about 60 miles per hour, so they're moving pretty quickly. And you can see that main core of the stronger thunderstorms right now just getting ready to approach the I-57 corridor here. So they're starting to bear down on this entire area. Basically from around Marrowbone down towards around Effingham, we've got some very strong thunderstorms in this general area. So again, folks, this is a very volatile situation. It's a very fluid situation. We've been seeing these tornadoes being spun off. So it's something that we really have to take seriously. So if you live in Effingham, Fayette, or Shelby counties, please seek shelter. Go to the lowest level of your home. And if you live in a mobile home, we ask that you go seek shelter in a more sturdy or more substantial building, because mobile homes are not the best structure. They're not the sturdiest structure to be in. So find yourself a very secure place to be. Go to that safe place. You want to go to the lowest level. You want to stay away from windows and put as many walls between you and the outside elements as possible as these thunderstorms continue to bear down on south central sections of our viewing area. Right now, again, Effingham, Shelby, and Fayette counties continue to be under tornado warnings until the bottom of the hour at 6:30. So we've been seeing these nasty thunderstorms working their way across the region. You can see how they're generally moving off very quickly off to the north and east. And let's put a tracker on some of these thunderstorms. So again, we've been seeing signs of circulation here, very close to, not too far from the west area. So let's put a tracker on these things. We'll see some other communities that may likely be impacted. Again, these thunderstorms are moving off to the north and east. So at that projected course, they could be affecting Mound here about 6:22 and then Watson about 6:28. So if you live in those communities, again, please take the situation seriously. You definitely want to seek shelter and be in the safe place in your community, be in the safe place in your home. So again, those tornado warnings continue at this point. Fayette, Effingham, and Shelby counties. Matt?
Yeah, I am tracking some rotation. I'll pull it up for you guys here in just a second. That really is probably why the tornado warnings have been issued for the area. You kind of see it right here, those little bit of red flashing right there, but we'll try to get the storm relative velocity, which is a little bit better, especially for how fast some of the storms are moving in the area. And we are definitely been seeing a little bit of tighter areas of rotation now in our portions of Fayette County down here. Just now, this would be Fayette County, and going into now looks like we got a new tornado warning going in for all of Effingham County. Pretty much is under a tornado warning. 3 different tornado warnings. You have one on the southern side, and that's where we're seeing some circulation going from Salem, which is out of our area, but we also got this rotation right now around west and now south of Mound, and that would also likely be going towards Effingham. So if you're in the Effingham area, make sure that you're getting into your storm shelter. This is very serious situation. While we don't have a tornado confirmed on the ground at the moment, it is definitely possible that it could be imminent, especially these storms have produced tornadoes in the past. We have gotten several reports, especially on our I-70 corridor, which include Fayette and Effingham County. That's where we have seen those reports, like we showed you that image earlier in Greenville, as that tornado was on the ground not too long ago, about an hour ago. So we have definitely been seeing a little bit of an increase in that couplet near the west area. Just east of St. James, going south of Bound, and this will likely continue to push just south of I-70 and continue to make its way between Watson and Effingham. So we have a tornado warning for Effingham County until 6:45 p.m. tonight. It is a considerable tag, mainly because we have the damaging winds possible up to 70 miles per hour. We also have hail video from earlier, I believe, coming down on some cars in
It's from Logan County.
From Logan County, and it was definitely coming down. We had hailstones confirmed over 2 inches in size, so that's large eggs, hen-sized eggs coming down on your vehicles, and that could really pack a punch, damage your cars. Right now, we're not seeing that hail potential at the moment. Really, it's just straight line damaging winds as well as some rotation that could possibly lead to a tornado. And like you're seeing right here, it's mainly south of I-70, just northeast of West and southeast of Mound. And that's what we're keeping an eye on as a likely track just near the Watson area towards Effingham and all the way out to St. Francis and Spring Point and going all the way into our other counties in the area. Our other tornado warning at the moment is also going towards Prairie. So if you're in Prairie, you need to make sure that you're in your storm shelter. If you're in Kingman, you need to be in your storm shelter as well down the road, maybe not in the warning yet. But Paradise, you might also want to be getting ready, and then down even further would be closer to Mattoon. And I would say for the rest of today, the main threat will likely reside along I-57 and eastward towards the Illinois-Indiana border. So we got to keep an eye on it, as these storms have had confirmed tornadoes on the ground in the past, so they are definitely capable of producing them in the future.
Yeah, so I would say over the next hour or so, that's going to be like the main part of these thunderstorms. They should show signs of weakening and dissipating, moving out of the area by early this evening. So I'd say another hour or two that we have to really be concerned about for the possibility for more tornadic thunderstorm. And then we'll finally have a chance to maybe breathe a little bit easier and catch our breaths a little bit later on for tonight. But at least for the next few hours, we do still have a chance to see more very, very energetic, more robust thunderstorms. And we got a tower cam right now showing the time-lapse view of the storms as they were hitting the Capital Airport here, capital city here, just inundating rains.
I believe in that time lapse we had the tower get hit by lightning.
Yeah, I mean, we had a couple times where we had power surges here in the studio, so yeah, we definitely got struck.
If we're able to run it back and take a look at that video where we got likely struck by lightning here, definitely shook the building for sure for 10, 15 seconds. Definitely scared us a little bit here in the studio when we first went on air during our wall-to-wall coverage.
Heavy blinding downpours coming down. We've had hail, you name it, just everything but the kitchen sink being thrown at us. But the rain's it's been unrelenting, the rain that we had earlier today. So yeah, much of central Illinois is seeing glimpses of what you're seeing there in the video. Just some really, really very powerful, potent thunderstorms have been pounding central Illinois for today. And the thunderstorms are not over just yet. Right now, the worst of the worst continues to be over the southern part of our viewing area. So we still have several tornado warnings that are actively in effect for Fayette, for Effingham, and for Shelby counties. Right now under a tornado warning that continues for about the next 30 minutes or so. Another time lapse here. This is from our HSHS tower camera. But again, for showing the storms pounding Springfield right now, or that was earlier this afternoon. But you can see the time lapse. And boy, just some really, really powerful, energetic storms for sure.
For our friends in Springfield, you guys are no longer in the tornado watch anymore. So if you're in the Springfield area, I would say you're pretty much in the clear for more active weather. While you still could have some light rain and some rumbles of thunder, the severe weather potential has decreased enough that the National Weather Service office in Lincoln has canceled that tornado watch for your area. They've also taken out of Logan County, but the rest of our region that's going all the way from Macoupin all the way up to Iroquois County, you're still under that tornado warning. And especially for our I-57 corridor going towards the eastern side of our region towards the Illinois-Indiana border, I would say that's the areas that we have to keep an eye on for the rest of that early evening as the potential for these storms, but they are moving quite quick. We should be hopefully in the clear here within the next hour or so as these storms are really moving across the area. We had some storms this morning moving as fast as 80 miles per hour, which did cause some damage in the Lincoln area as well.
Yeah, you can see definitely kind of the curlicue motion with some of these storms running from Mattoon southward down towards I-64. You can see kind of the swirling motion, which indicates that we had some circulation.
Oh, wow. That damage.
Now, this is damage from Logan County.
And it looks like debris is inside of a wall.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Looks like a piece of metal or a 2x4 went through a cinder block wall. And that's what we're talking about. Even in these very strong severe thunderstorm warnings where you're having wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour or greater, like we saw in Lincoln earlier, they could cause a lot of destruction. They've torn roofs off places, and then all that debris went onto roadways. We had videos earlier getting sent in of showing cars frantically trying to pull off the road in Lincoln, trying to avoid that debris. So that's definitely why every single severe thunderstorm warning should be taken seriously, because even wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour can definitely pack a punch, break off some tree limbs, fly them into your window, and that's the worst thing you want. But also right now we still have those tornado warnings in effect for Effingham, and it looks like the Effingham area has seen a little bit of an uptick on the broad rotation right now, just south of Effingham going towards Watson. So that's what we're keeping an eye on at the moment. Pretty much just south of I-70 right now. That's the best area to see that possible spin-up tornado within some of this storm. And like I said, these storms have been capable, if not have already produced tornadoes in the past. So something to definitely keep an eye on, as this is a very active day, and it will continue to be for the next few hours.
And these storms again are racing to the northeast very quickly at about 55 to 60 miles per hour. So we do want to give you a heads up if you live in Effingham. More storms are going to be bearing down on your area here very shortly at 6:24, and then Teutopolis, then eventually heading over towards St. Francis and around Spring Point at 6:34 for tonight. So a lot of very stormy conditions here impacting portions of our viewing area. And you can see that these thunderstorms have really been very prolific in not only producing the isolated tornadoes, but we've also seen some large hail, very, very strong destructive winds. And look at all the lightning and heavy downpours too. A lot of frequent vivid lightning right now. As you can see here, you can see with the little white blips there, that indicates where we've got the lightning. So a lot of lightning too taking place from just west of Charleston and stretching all the way down towards around closer towards the I-70 corridor. Again, just a reminder that we have several tornado warnings that are continuing at this point in time, including Effingham and Shelby County still under tornado warnings. And we have tornado warnings too for Fayette County as well. So a lot of stormy conditions, and these thunderstorms again are racing off to the north and east. So if you live in any of these communities from Effingham through Shelby County, please do take shelter and do take this seriously. It's a very dangerous situation, as these thunderstorms have been very, very active for today. Multifaceted storms, but besides the threat for tornadoes, also too some very strong winds, as we saw some of the damage earlier with the video that we saw. Destructive winds could be clocked over 70, 80 miles per hour with some of these thunderstorms. And we've also had reports of ping pong ball and golf ball size hailstones earlier today too. So very large hail, lots of lightning, and some very, very stormy conditions here.
Yeah, continuing from that storm that moving into very southeastern Shelby County right now. This is the same storm that earlier produced a tornado, and we continue to get images from the National Weather Service Office in St. Louis from Bond County earlier near the Greenville area, showing damage. Looks like either a mobile home or some kind of home was almost leveled. So that's why we want to make sure that every tornado warning is taken seriously, because two things. One, the radar images are around a couple minutes late as they get all the data and then fed in and then produce the radar image, as well as we still could see that rotation very quickly spin up. We also have some more hail photos coming in right now. And that's some hailstones coming in through looks like our chime-in page. And that is some of the
some of those
hail.
egg-sized hailstones that we saw.
Yeah, that's around golf ball size hail. Can we get that first one up again? That is close to ping pong, if not close to almost tennis ball size hail at some point.
We did have reports of egg-sized hailstones, at least 2 inches in diameter, around Springfield on Piper Road, and some egg-sized hailstones too around Lathan earlier. So hail's also been a huge, huge issue as well.
Yeah, and if you guys got any of your photos, you could send it to us on our Chime In page on your website or your mobile app as well. Not only is this, a great way for us to showcase all your images, but it's a great way for us to send those images and all those reports to the National Weather Service office in Lincoln or St. Louis, depending on the area that you are at, or even, Chicago, because some of our very northeastern counties are in that Chicago office area for their watch coverage. And we can send that information to the National Weather Service because it's really good to get a confirmed tag on even a severe thunderstorm warning producing very large hail. We had that earlier on our Facebook Live as well. We're still keeping an eye on this whole line as we have several tornado warnings in the Effingham area as well as into very southeastern and southeastern and eastern side of Shelby County. That looks like it's starting to push out of the Shelby County area right now. So we'll see if that tornado warning continues to get pushed out for areas like Paris and the Mattoon area. But that's what we're keeping an eye on right now. And those warnings continue to go for at least the next 7 minutes. And that's what we're keeping an eye on, as is a very active situation. The one in Effingham County continues for the next 22 minutes. So that's continuing as well. We also have one of our reporters out there.
Spencer Davis.
Spencer Davis, so go ahead and take him.
This is a piece of the roof that was on top of the farm and home building here in Lincoln. Again, it's a pretty decent sized chunk. We've got people working on this scene behind us. These power lines had been downed earlier on in the day, but they've started to get them back up. They've actually got the wires on in the time that we've been here. They did not have any of the power lines up, but again, it looks like they're making great progress. But again, the roof itself for Farm and Home Supply was not actually damaged. We talked to the staff there, and they told us that this chunk that we just showed off was on top of the roof, set to be installed, and then was blown off across the street. The mayor of Lincoln, Tracy Welch, just posted on Facebook that wind speeds reached about 80 miles per hour here in Lincoln, especially during that 10:30 a.m. time when, again, the roof of Eaton was damaged, as well as Arby's and down here at Farm and Home Supply. But again, there is some damage, but we haven't seen a lot of rain. There's been some light sprinkles, but I think we're right on the edge of that front where we're at right now. But for now, reporting live in Lincoln, I'm Spencer Davis. Back to you.
Yeah, for Lincoln and also too for Springfield, you might see some occasional showers still picking up later this evening, but the threat for severe weather, that is over and done with, at least for that side of our market. So you can see there where Spencer is in Lincoln, Springfield, Jacksonville, Havana, Beardstown, you're in the clear. You should be fine. I mean, like I said, there might be a few more scattered showers tonight. Nothing severe, though. Our main threat continues to be over the eastern half of our viewing area, and especially right now closer towards I-70, because that's where our latest in a slew of tornado warnings has been continuing. So we still have active tornado warnings, as you can see right now. It's mainly affecting places like Shelby County and also to Effingham County, still under tornado warnings until 6:30 for tonight. Now, this is all stemmed back, way back about a couple hours ago or so. We were seeing some tornadoes forming in Bond County, right around the Greenville area, an actual confirmed tornado in Greenville, and that in turn prompted our latest in a series of tornado warnings that we've been most recently been seeing. But our tornado warnings right now, these are actually Doppler radar indicated because we've seen some circulation. And sure enough, now these thunderstorms are continuing to charge off towards the east. So now we have a new tornado warning. This is now for Cumberland County and Jasper County, and this goes until 7:15 for this evening. So we still have at least a while longer here, about another hour or so, to be really concerned with these thunderstorms. I do think the threat for severe weather, though, should be wrapping up later tonight. I think most of this should be out of here pretty much by 8 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock or so. But at least in the short term, we still have, we're very much under the gun with a chance to see more tornadic thunderstorms. So here's our latest warning now that we have now. It is for Cumberland and Jasper County. Now, again, this is Doppler radar indicated there was some circulation. Thunderstorm capable of both tornadoes and extensive straight-line wind damage was located very close to Montrose, or about 7 miles east of Effingham, moving northeast very quickly at 75 miles per hour. So that prompted our latest tornado warning. And besides the threat for tornadoes, we've also seen the possibility for some hail. In this case, the hail maybe not as impressive as what we saw earlier, but they're talking about the chance to see quarter-size hailstones, which would be severe hail, and also to, again, straight-line wind damage is a possibility too. So again, just definitely keep this in mind. We have our new latest tornado warning now for Cumberland County. So if you live in Cumberland County, please seek shelter immediately. Go to the lowest level of your home, and please try to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. You want to stay away from windows because, of course, there could be some flying debris. So right now we're concerned with possibility for more tornadoes being spun up over the next couple of hours or so. But this is a multifaceted storm system. Besides the possibility for tornadoes, we can also see definitely some large hail and very strong damaging wind gusts. So just a heads up for communities like Jewett and also Toledo, you'll likely be in the path of these thunderstorms as well. Green up in Casey, you'll also be in line to see the thunderstorms. These thunderstorms are moving very, very quickly off to the north and east at about 55 to 60 miles per hour. So we've got some very intense weather here. I'll put this radar into motion for you. Thunderstorms again mainly bounding the area from near just west of Charleston right now, down towards around Effingham and extending all the way down towards the I-70 corridor. That's where the strongest thunderstorms are currently working their way, and even down towards I-64. But the bigger picture shows that at least western parts of our area, west of Interstate 55, you can breathe a lot easier because most of the activity has been wrapping up. There might be a few more scattered showers here and there later on tonight, but nothing of severe sorts. It's the main action is going to be over the eastern part of our viewing area. So places like the I-57 corridor and down towards I-70, you are still very much in line to see some rough weather over the next hour or so before these thunderstorms finally start to show signs of tapering off. But this is our latest radar. As you can see, we've got some of the most intense weather right now, very close to Charleston, still bearing down in Effingham, and then running all the way down just south of our viewing area here, and just to the east of Centralia. So let me also put another vantage point here. Let's take a look at the velocity mode. Maybe we can pick out some signs of circulation. Oh, most definitely. If I take you back in time here, what you're looking at now just south of Effingham, this is what we call the velocity mode, and it does show us how the wind is acting. So when the winds are going towards the radar site, they're usually shades of green or gray. When the winds are going away from the radar site, they're in shades of red. And you can definitely see this couplet here, this little circulation here. So that indicates that we've got some twisting motion taking place in the atmosphere. So that is signs of circulation. So again, this is Doppler radar indicated circulation. So that is what has prompted our latest tornado warning here. So just basically south of Effingham, and it continues to really charge off to the north and east. So that is our latest warning right now. I'm going to put a tracker on these, and we'll get a better perspective as to some other communities that will likely be affected over the next few minutes or so. Again, circulation was just indicated south of Effingham, so let's put a tracker on these. This would put these thunderstorms, if they continue, as we think they will be continuing at least for a while longer, a heads up for Neoga. At 6:44, you'll be in line to see the more stronger thunderstorms, and the tornadic thunderstorms may be bearing down on Charleston around 7:02, then Marshall at 7:21, and Paris at 7:29. And then after that, it's going to be plowing on into Indiana. But for at least a little while longer, folks, we are still under the gun here with a chance to see some really, really heavy-duty thunderstorms. Again, the broader picture shows that we've got some shower and thunderstorm activity up through Ford and Iroquois County, Champaign, Rantoul. But you can see it definitely stands out like a sore thumb. The most concentrated thunderstorms, the most prolific lightning right now is very close to the Effingham area and Humboldt, and running all the way down towards I-64. That's where some of the most intense weather currently is taking place. And we have multiple counties still under tornado warnings and multiple counties still under severe thunderstorm warnings. But as far as the tornado warnings are concerned, mainly right now for Cumberland and Jasper counties, that goes until 7:15. And then we also have more tornado warnings too for another part of Effingham County at 6:45. So that's still for at least the next 15 minutes or so. And then on top of that, we've got severe thunderstorm warnings too in effect that do include the Charleston area. So it's been a very, very active evening for sure. There's that severe thunderstorm warning that's for Clark, Clay, Cumberland, Effingham, Jasper, and Richland counties, all under right now severe thunderstorm warnings until 7:15. So the threat's going to be considerable. That's what they're tagging this as, because besides the possibility of seeing tornadoes, there's going to be some strong, very destructive straight line winds, as winds could be around 75 miles per hour, certainly capable of causing structural damage down trees and power lines, and we could see some large hail as well. Now earlier today, some of the hailstones were about the size of hen eggs and ping pong and golf ball size hailstones. At this particular time, they're saying that the hail may be around 3/4 of an inch, so maybe quarter size hailstones around those areas, but still, that's something to really take seriously, whether it's hail damage or straight line wind damage or tornado damage. It's all going to be a very serious situation. So, but again, just most recently, though, we have our new tornado warnings, though, for Cumberland County. Again, that goes until 7:15. And then we have another tornado warning here for Effingham County till 6:45. So still some very, very busy active weather. And right now, it's mainly the south central part of our viewing area, mainly closing in on the I-70 corridor. That seems to be the area right now experiencing the brunt of the activity. So very stormy conditions, as you can see. And you can see definitely, look at all the lightning strikes here. This has been a very prolific lightning producer and also producing blinding downpours. So we definitely have some really, really nasty storms here still bearing down parts of our viewing area. So definitely stay weather alert because we have more busy weather headed our way. And joining me right now, we have our meteorologist Darren Leeds over in our sister station. So Darren, what are you seeing from your vantage point?
Yeah, and Cheryl, we, like you said, continue to see that tornado warning in effect around Cumberland County right now. Still picking up on some fairly large hail. We're picking up on about 1 inch in diameter. We've seen these hailstones kind of lessen up a little bit over about the last hour or so, but also we've seen this environment be very conducive for more development to happen as the storms continue to progress their way off towards the east. So that's what we're seeing right now with the current cell. And you can see kind of that line from Mattoon extending down to just east of Effingham, where we are seeing some of that heavier rainfall. And then we've kind of got that hail core down around western Cumberland County. But we have that tornado warning in effect for about the next 45 minutes or so. Also just radar indicated, but this same cell has a history of producing tornadoes. And there we go. Source, now we have observation. I'm actually going to jump right off the screen here and we're going to see what this newest information is. If we've got a spotter confirmation. So give me just 1 second. Okay. Sorry, trying to read and think at the same time. Radar indicated rotation. Let's see if we have a newer update. Let me jump back over to National Weather Service. Okay, so they are seeing what they believe is a debris signature just east of Louisville. They are asking if anybody has any local reports. Trained weather spotters reporting 70-mile-per-hour winds, pea-size hail. That's in Clay County, so a little bit farther south. I do not see anything that would indicate that they have confirmation. Or did it jump over to that other? Okay, that was my mistake. It was picking up on that Clay County tornado warning. That has been confirmed. Cumberland County, not been confirmed. There's no observation. I kind of thought we were getting an update here when it kind of flashed a little bit, but still radar indicated. We are still seeing rotation in there as well. Was looking, yeah, no updated storm report for our tornado warning for Cumberland County area. That was kind of throwing me for a loop there for a second. But definitely, as I was talking about, we've got that heavy band of rain extending from Mattoon just down south towards Clay County and east of Effingham County. And yeah, very dynamic environment is what these storms have kind of been developing in for this afternoon. Even if we throw it over to our storm relative velocity, yes, it does look like this would kind of be our area that we're seeing moving away from the radar. We're seeing this green section pushing its way back towards our radar site. So definitely kind of a broad area of rotation, even extending into kind of southern Coles County over on the eastern side of Interstate 57 as well, and north of Interstate 70. KZ looks like this is kind of making its way over towards you as this system continues to push its way off towards the east. But yes, still just picking up on very strong rotation within those storms is what it seems like. Again, no observation that was with one of our other cells that is further off to the south. It just happened to pinpoint on that one that was a little bit more significant, and with that confirmed tornado on the ground rather than just radar indicated rotation within that storm cell. We continue to still see very powerful wind gusts. As I mentioned, we are still picking up on 70-mile-per-hour winds. So even without a tornado, we're seeing those damaging straight line winds can also produce quite a bit of some damage. As Cheryl and Matt were showing you some of those storm damage pictures that we were showing you, and even without confirmation of tornadoes or tornadic activity, we are seeing those winds capable of really whipping that debris around and embedding it into things like concrete walls and things like that. So that area of rotation still always going to be a concern, because we could be seeing some of that debris on the ground kind of getting whipped up a little bit, even without those winds as well coming through. But very still broad area where we could be looking at potential damage across both Coles and Cumberland County. We do kind of see that little area of some of that hooking curving happening just to the west of KZ and right there along Interstate 70, just around parts of central Cumberland County right now. So let's jump back over and take a little bit of a broader view on things. Also going to see if we do happen to have another update with our current tornado warning right now. So give me 1 second. So again, with that other cell, they do have a confirmed tornado that was observed down around the Jasper County area, kind of extending just out of Clay County. But both of those have observed tornadoes, probably also looking at the same cell. So with ours, though, if we can just kind of focus on the Cumberland County area, also seeing that extension down into Jasper as well. But still, we are going to be looking at radar indicated rotation. 7:15 is when that tornado warning is set to expire. And so far, no extension happening as we're looking over into, say, Clark County or even Coles, and then into Edgar County as well. So once we start to see these storm systems progress a little bit further off to the west, it does look like most of central Illinois will begin to kind of be in the clear. Like I was talking about, we do have that area of rotation right around the central parts of the county right now. So kind of right in here is where we're pinpointing where the best development could possibly be, just east of the Sumter area and west of KZ, pushing its way over onto the eastern half of the county at this point in time. But these storms are moving very quickly. You can see we just got our most recent update there. And again, best potential for tornado spawned activity would be right there, kind of sitting right along Interstate 70. So again, if you know anybody who's planning on traveling, definitely want to tell them to kind of hold off for at least the next hour or two. We've been seeing A couple semis flipped on Interstate 55 earlier today, just with those powerful winds that have been impacting central Illinois. But definitely a good indication of just the winds driving this system, and also still ramping up a little bit more of that rotation within our cells. So pretty much besides that tornado warning that we've got currently, and that's now just for the eastern half of Cumberland County, starting to impact closer to the Greenup area down there along I-70 and Illinois 130. Everybody else pretty much looking at just some rain, some wind, some lightning at this point. But it does look like most of those severe thunderstorm warnings are starting to get dropped across the board. We do still sit under the tornado watch, and I'm actually expecting us to start to see a few more of these get canceled, especially DeWitt, Piatt, Macon, Christian, over around Macoupin, Montgomery counties, just with that storm kind of starting to clear its way out. Macon County, we're still looking at some heavier rainfall over there. Shelby County also in the same boat, but Christian County, Taylorville, you guys are probably just looking at some of that lighter rain at this point in time. Most of that more active weather is east of Interstate 57 right now. So let's jump back down over to Cumberland County, because again, this tornado warning is going to be our main point of focus at this point in time. Let's see if we do happen to have a new update from the National Weather Service. Last update coming at 6:39, so just a couple minutes ago. Still looking at that squall line capable of producing both tornadoes and extensive straight line winds, so like we were talking about. But located over the Greenup area, this one actually starting to pick up speed a little bit. 75 miles per hour is that storm speed itself right now, not just what those winds could possibly be producing. But it still has the potential to produce a tornado. We are getting quarter-size hail and just radar showing that strong rotation within this. Still does look like it's mainly over rural parts of Cumberland County as it pushes its way off towards the east, but we are starting to now get that severe thunderstorm warning kind of encompassing around this system over into Coles County, even closer to western Cumberland County, and now eastern Clark County is where we're starting to see that extension. So might be getting close to seeing the tornadic activity start to ramp down a little bit more. Not really going to be seeing that potential be as strong, but it still could be there, because as we talked about, our atmosphere today, especially as these storms have pushed their way onto the eastern side of the state, definitely have kind of intensified a little bit as well. And this cell, again, a history of producing tornadoes. We did have that confirmed tornado on the ground around Greenville over in Bond County, and we did see that same storm push over into Fayette counties, into Effingham County, and over into even far parts of Shelby County as well. But we do still see some areas of rotation, so this is possible for a tornado to, again, possibly get spun up, especially with those strong winds that we've been looking at. And you can kind of see that tornado out there in the distance. But yes, very good funnel shape on that, and absolutely just kind of a testament to how much we rely on those trained storm spotters to be out there to get that confirmation and let us know that what is currently happening on the ground. Radar can give us a lot of good information, but we need those people actually out in the elements to give us that confirmation of that tornado is currently there. But we can pick up on rotation. We can pick up on that tornadic debris signature very well with the radar, but also winds can drive up that activity also and kind of give an illusion, if you will, but definitely having that visual confirmation is a critical thing that we need to have those trained storm spotters once again getting out there. But if we jump over to our storm tracks, right now we still continue to see pretty strong updraft with this cell as well. And again, not seeing confirmed tornado reports at all, but radar still indicating very strong rotation. That storm system definitely picking up quite a bit of air, as we are going to be still looking at that atmosphere being conducive to potential for tornadoes. But rain still very on the heavy side. Hail still producing about 1 inch in diameter as this system is pushing its way a little bit closer to the eastern half of the county, and then will again eventually push its way over around Casey and the Clark County area. But 7:15, so we're still under that warning for about the next 30 minutes. I haven't seen them quite extend it just yet, that it looks like, but we're gonna zoom out a little bit and see, because it does look like we're starting to see that warning box push its way over into Clark County at this point in time, and also over into Edgar County. So yes, we did get that extension for Clark and Edgar. Tornado warning will remain in effect there until 7:30, so about the next 45 minutes. But it does appear that with some of those cells further north, say around the Ashmore area and eastern Coles County, we're starting to see those hail sizes begin to drop off a little bit more, now closer to about 3/4 of an inch. But these storms have definitely been very powerful. We've got some hail photos from these storms over the course of the last several hours, and definitely showing you just kind of the strength of these storms. We've been seeing those hail diameters 1 to even 2 inches. If we can take a look at our chime in page here. So Rachel, hail from the storm today, yeah, that easily looks like it could be rivaling baseball-sized hail. Emily with the picture of some hail, probably closer to about golf ball size, so closer to about 2 inches in diameter and a little bit smaller. Absolutely love having our viewers submit these storm photos here to us. Shelby, again, large hail falling, and you can just see how big some of those hailstones are. Absolutely can do some damage if you're caught outside, and then obviously to vehicles or even roofing as well. But hail, definitely a very strong indication of how strong those updrafts are, as those hailstones like Gina is showing here, probably easily 2 inches in diameter, and actually some pretty unique shapes we are seeing out there with our hailstones as well. But yes, we continue to see the potential for that large hail, potential for tornadic activity, but no confirmed tornadoes as of right now. Also do have some hail video that we can pass along to you as well, and it looks like this storm may be starting to kind of track a little bit off towards the southeast. So yeah, let's take a look at some of our hail video that we've been getting from some of our viewers today, and it looks like absolutely kind of just pelting this Jeep. Easily you can pick up some of those larger hail size. It almost looks like there's some golf balls kind of hitting in and around that. But yes, these storms have had very powerful updrafts with them, and so that really helps to accelerate the layers being added onto those hailstones. And while that updraft still continues to support the hail moving up and down within that thunderstorm, once those hailstones are too heavy for the updraft to support them, that is when we begin to see them fall to the ground. But just the sheer amount of hail, even in that video and even with our viewer submitted photos, shows just the amount of liquid available we call it vertical integrated liquid, but that these storms are kind of sucking in. And we've also been seeing that as well with our heavy rainfall here across the region. So, does still look like we've just got radar indicated rotation across eastern Cumberland County. 7:15 is our expiration time for the tornado warning for Cumberland, and then extending down into Jasper County as well. This system still progressing its way towards the east, and then we've got that extension for parts of Coles, Clark, and Edgar County, and that tornado warning would go into the 7:30 hour. But our towns that likely are going to be impacted, Casey, here you guys are probably just starting to see some of that rainfall begin to pick up in intensity. You're likely also going to start to encounter some of those winds very soon. The Marshall area, once this thing pushes its way over into Clark County and continues to push its way along Interstate 70. We've got some new hail video to pass along. Kate, do we know where this video is coming from? Okay. Always like to have that location just in case, and it kind of gives us an ability to establish, you know, who and where are seeing some of this. But wow, yeah, those hailstones easily looking like they're measuring about 2 inches, kind of just shattering on contact with the ground. But yes, these storms have been packing quite a punch out there for today. I actually feel like we've been getting a lot more reports of hail and large hail than with our last couple severe weather events here in the last several weeks. It seemed like our last couple severe weather events were primarily wind events. We did have 2 weeks ago those 9 tornadoes that broke out across central Illinois. But now today, really, Mother Nature is showing all aspects of severe weather kind of across the board as these storms have made their way through the region. So again, still picking up on very strong updraft with that. If we are still detecting stronger rotation, we might see those hail tracks showing us our little spinning arrows. But our latest does have this beginning to push its way into far western Clark County at this point in time. I'm going to throw it back over to our live radar sweeps here. And besides just that heavy rainfall, we're still seeing that hail core, if you will, pretty much right around eastern Coles County, starting to push its way into far northwestern Clark County. But that large hail also accompanied by those powerful winds as well. Haven't really been getting the reports on the winds here over about the last 20 minutes or so, but we know these storms are moving quickly, 60 to 75 miles per hour. That's just the storm movement itself, and they have been packing those powerful straight line winds along with them. So want to just take a look at our storm relative velocity and just see if we can also pick up on areas where we are seeing those powerful straight line winds coming in along with it. So yeah, right around the Casey area, even just east of Ashmore, and now we're kind of starting to migrate between the extent of our Lincoln radar and moving over into Indianapolis coverage. But yeah, this is where I'd be picking up on some of those areas of rotation. Just kind of centered to the east of Casey right now along Interstate 70. We've got that green. We've got this little bit of a hooking signature beginning to happen. So maybe could be looking at more of that strong rotation beginning to happen as these storms move off towards the east. But we get those brighter shades on the extent of our red moving away from the radar, and that's a very good indicator. That is where we're seeing a lot more of the the stronger straight line wind activity. I'm going to throw it over onto our debris detector. Still not picking up on a lot of debris out there. It does still appear we're mainly getting rain. So even these winds coming through at 60, 70 miles per hour, you'd think we'd get a little bit more of some of those brighter colors kind of mixing in. This pure red maroonish shade, that's pretty much indicative of we're seeing rain. So when we get to see more of that mixing, if we had, say, these kind of shades all clustered in one specific area, that would give me a better indication that we are seeing debris, dirt, dust, something that is not rain, that is kind of being pushed or swept along or rotated within that storm itself. So definitely a good sign, especially with that rotation that we're picking up on storm relative velocity out there, that we're not seeing a lot of debris signature as well. But like I also said, we're getting to the farther extent of the Lincoln radar site and now almost starting to cross into Indianapolis radar territory. We're maybe not getting some of the best data, but it does still look like some good data is being handed over to us. And yes, we're still picking up on that strong rotation, which is what we're getting on our radar itself. And we're also seeing that on our storm relative velocity, but good sign that we are not picking up on much with our debris detector or correlation coefficient. Again, another fancy word for just debris there at the surface and within these storms as they're making their way through. Let's give another little wide look at everything we've got going on. So now we have started to see more of our tornado watches get dropped from Fayette up through Shelby, Moultrie, Piatt counties, everywhere to the east. We are now pretty much in the clear. We still remain under our tornado watches for our I-57 corridor and everywhere to the east. So again, Champaign, Douglas, Coles, Cumberland, Effingham County. We've also still got Clark, Edgar, Vermilion, and then over into western Indiana. That tornado warning polygon still over around southeastern Coles County, southern Edgar County, and the northern half of Clark County, and that does also encompass Interstate 70. So any travelers definitely want to be kind of taking a break from driving and wait for all this to continue to pass its way off. Still getting radar indicated rotation. We just talked about that. Want to see if we have any new observations to pass along to you. Latest still coming in about 6:45, so a little bit more than about 10 minutes ago. But that storm cell kind of still centered right around the northwestern corner of Clark County. And again, that's where we're kind of seeing this hail core extending from Coles, Edgar, and Clark County. So right around in there is where we're kind of seeing the center of this storm, but moving northeast at 70 miles per hour, so still moving very quickly. Radar picking up on that rotation as we've been talking about. So again, our big concern is going to be flying debris. If you are in the path of this storm, if you're in the Marshall area right now, if you're in Paris, if you're in Elbridge, if you're in even Dolson, definitely want to be making sure you're steering clear of those windows, making sure you're getting into your safe place, most interior part of your home or your business. And if you've got a basement, that is going to be your best spot right now. I'm going to throw things over to Chief Meteorologist Cheryl Lemke. And Cheryl, you kind of seeing exactly what I'm seeing with this storm?
Yeah, exactly, Darren. We're still seeing some really powerful thunderstorms bearing down on parts of central Illinois. And currently the counties that we're most concerned with are Clark and Edgar counties, still under tornado warnings until the bottom of the hour, until 7:30. Now, we've been tracking this band of thunderstorms over the last several hours or so. This particular cluster of thunderstorms actually started up around the Greenville area, over around Bond County, and then we had an actual confirmed tornado there that was actually spotted by law enforcement officers, and it's been holding its own. Right now, we're not seeing actually confirmed tornado, but over the last several scans, we've been seeing at least Doppler radar indicating some circulation, and we're seeing all this nasty weather right now bearing down on Clark and Edgar counties. So I believe we do have a picture there. Now, this was actually the funnel cloud and tornado that we saw earlier today. This was in Bond County, so it's around the Greenville area, and you can clearly see that funnel cloud extending all the way down to the ground. That is a classic signature of a tornado that's actually hitting the ground there. So that's what spawned earlier this afternoon, and this complex of thunderstorms has been really prolific, not only producing the possibility for tornadoes, but we've also seen some very large hail and very, very, very strong winds. These thunderstorms are packing winds over 70, 75 miles per hour, so we've had over hurricane force winds in association with these storms. So again, you can also see quite a bit of vivid lightning. Take a look at this. I checked out the lightning strikes, and we had over 900 lightning strikes in the last 15 minutes or so. So it's been a prolific lightning producer, heavy torrential downpours, and of course, too, we've got that threat for tornadoes. So we currently have our tornado warning right now for a couple counties. It's for Clark and Edgar counties until 7:30. If you do live in Clark or Edgar County, please seek shelter immediately. The safest place to go is go to an interior room and go to the lowest level of that room, or go to the lowest level and actually stay away from the windows because there could be some flying debris. And we have more video to show you here. Now, this is our time-lapse sequence of the storms as they were pounding Springfield earlier this afternoon. Just unrelenting rain, had some vivid lightning strikes too. In fact, a couple power surges here right at the studio here along Cook Street. So nasty thunderstorms pounding the Capitol, and we had some rough weather too. You can see those dark, ominous clouds that were streaming in over across Springfield earlier this afternoon. And you can see the lightning strike, and yeah, it actually shook the building a couple of times. That lightning was so intense, so terribly powerful. So we've had some power surges, and that's just a sample of some of the rough weather that's been taking place all day long here over central Illinois. So again, this is what it looks like now from our vantage point. At least for the western part of our viewing area, places like Springfield and Lincoln, you can breathe a whole lot easier because the worst of the worst has passed you by. In fact, we're continuing to shave back and trim down the areas under the tornado watch. So looking much better for those of you around Taylorville or Decatur. You might still see a few scattered showers taking place later on this evening, but at least the threat for severe weather, it's over and done with. So that's the good news. So Taylorville, Decatur, Litchfield, Jacksonville, Springfield, Chatham, you're looking good right now. But it's the eastern part of the state. That's the area that we're still concerned because you're still officially under that tornado watch. It officially goes till 10 o'clock, but I wouldn't be surprised if they cancel that earlier because these thunderstorms are moving so quickly. They should be pretty much out of our area by that point. And then again, we have those tornado warnings that continue currently for Clark County and also too for Edgar County. So as we zoom in closer, you can see these thunderstorms again, really, really very dynamic, very powerful. And I'm going to put a different mode on here. Let's take a look at the velocity mode. You can kind of see some of the circulation that we've been seeing. Now I'll take it back over time here. Now this is from a while back, but you can definitely see this. It shows up very distinctly from our velocity mode. And the velocity mode, kind of a fancy term, it just means how the winds are behaving here when we take a look at the radar. So when the winds are going away from the radar site, that usually shows the winds showing up in shades of red. When the winds are going towards the radar site, it's usually green. And when you see that kind of coupling, that grouping of the green and the red together, that indicates kind of a twisting motion in the atmosphere. So we definitely saw circulation right there around the green up area. And let me take you back over the next several scans here, because you can see how that little spin continuing charged off to the north and east. And right now, there you go. That's why we see our latest warning here over Clark and Edgar County, because you see that spin, that action, that spinning, twisting motion has lifted its way up towards the I-70 corridor. So currently, it's bearing down on Clark and Edgar County. So that is our latest tornado warning. Again, this is all Doppler radar indicated, but you can definitely see that twisting motion that's been taking place. So right now, everything seems to be converging and consolidating right over across the southeastern part of our viewing area, hugging very close to I-70. It's getting ready to head over towards Terre Haute here very shortly. But at least in the short term, still looking at some really, really robust, very intense thunderstorms. You can see this band of thunderstorms that over the last several hours, again, steadily making headway from west to east. And right now, the worst of the worst concentrated just south of Danville, down towards around the Terre Haute area, Casey, Greenup, just east of Mattoon. That's where some of the most intense weather is taking place right now. As we were mentioning, besides the possibility of isolated tornadoes, we certainly have some very strong winds. These thunderstorms have had a history of producing wind gusts over 75 miles per hour. We're talking about hurricane force winds. and that can cause a lot of structural damage. It can cause damage to buildings, but also to smaller cars can get flipped over. Just a lot of problems with winds that strong. Besides that, too, we've had reports of hail. We've had reports of hen-sized egg-sized hailstones that were reported earlier around Springfield, but also to around Latham, egg-sized hailstones. So some really huge hailstones too, causing considerable damage. So a multitude of problems are right now going on across the region as these thunderstorms continue to charge off to the north and east. So again, they're still very, very strong, very energetic here, especially over the southeastern part here around Coles and Edgar County. You seem to be kind of bearing the brunt of the storms right now. And if you could repeat that message, because I couldn't hear what you... We have some more some pit photos to show you. There we go, some of the hail and some video. I am not sure where this location is. It says on the screen here. But yeah, it's just showing a lot of the hail coming down. Yeah, there were some smaller hailstones too, like quarter-sized hailstones, but in some instances, we saw hail as big as hen egg-sized hailstones. So the largest of the hails that I saw, about 2 inches at least in diameter, that was located in Springfield. There was a report coming in from Piper Road. There's a large hail. I mean, that's probably an egg-sized hailstone right there. And it's really gnarly looking too, so that's a very impressive looking hailstone as well. Here's a good sized hailstone too. And again, any of these hailstones can really, really cause quite a bit of damage. It can break your windshield. It can cause, do damage to your roofing and also to the siding of your home. So that's just kind of a sample of some of the pictures that are coming in right now regarding the hail and the damage that it can do. So if you take pictures safely, that's great, because we love to see those photos because it really helps to tell the weather story. But I mean, just do it, make sure that you can do it so safely, because that's the main thing. You want to make sure that you're in that safe place right now and not putting yourself into harm's way. So right now, again, we're still tracking this band of thunderstorms, very, very strong, very energetic thunderstorms working their way towards the east. And it's a very dangerous line of thunderstorms that has had a history of producing isolated tornadoes, but also to large hail. And we've seen some very, very strong winds as well. At this point, the main game in town, though, is this tornado warning that continues still for Clark and Edgar counties. And this goes until 7:34 tonight. Now, as we were showing you some of the stronger thunderstorms, or at least the core of these tornadic thunderstorms, not too far from the Casey area. So I'm going to stop this for the time being, and then we'll put a tracker on these thunderstorms to see some other communities that will likely be affected. So this seems to be some of the strongest area right there. We'll put a tracker on these. And these thunderstorms are moving they're just racing along. They are moving quickly at close to 60 to 70 miles per hour at times. So based on that, here's the tracker. We're going to see some other communities. Lost Creek around 8:20. Terre Haute too is going to be right in the line of these thunderstorms. So they're moving very quickly off to the northeast. If you live in that little cone, that area, that's where the tornadic thunderstorms are headed in your direction. If you live in these areas, please make sure that you are definitely hunkered down and make sure that you're in your safe place in your home, because these thunderstorms are really very, very dangerous as they continue to rumble off to the north and east. We'll put this back into motion for you. Again, right now the thunderstorms, or at least the worst of the worst, is hugging very close to the I-70 corridor, just to the east now of Casey, and we still have our active warnings continuing now for Clark and Edgar County. Now, we've been also tracking this other band of thunderstorms a little bit farther to the south, because these thunderstorms might eventually lift back into that area too, helping to re-energize some of these tornadic thunderstorms that we've already been seeing. So we've got a lot of activity going on right now. The main concentration seems to be right along I-70 and stretching down towards Interstate 64. So it's mainly areas, as you can see, south and east of Charleston. Some other communities that are going to be in line here. You can see around Paris, Marshall, Casey, Greenup. You're still in line to see these powerful thunderstorms headed in your direction. The thunderstorms continue all the way down now just outside of our viewing area around the Robinson area, but very, very powerful thunderstorms. And our warnings continue again for at least the next few minutes. Officially, our tornado warning continues until 7:34 tonight. So again, it's a very, very dangerous situation. Let me put up some safety tips for you here. Again, if a tornado warning or a tornado siren gets issued in your area, you're hearing the sirens, please make sure that you follow this advice here. Go to the lowest level of your home. preferably in a basement, but if you don't have a basement, that's still okay. Just go to the lowest level of your home, and you want to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. So what's always a good idea, maybe to crawl underneath a sturdy piece of furniture and cover yourself up in case there is flying debris. There could be flying glass and flying debris, so make sure that you're covering yourself up with either a blanket or a comforter, because again, the situation could be quite dangerous with all that flying debris taking place. But these are some safety tips. You want to go to the lowest level of your home, go into the basement, go into an interior room, and stay away from windows because there could be flying glass and flying debris. At this point, again, we still have our tornado warnings that continue. It's just for a couple counties, but this is Doppler radar indicating that there's still circulation taking place here. So still for parts of Clark and eastern parts of Edgar County still under our tornado warning. It's been kind of shaving back here compared to what it was earlier, but still tornado warnings continue in those areas. And then we still have severe thunderstorm warnings too for multiple counties. So a lot of activity going on. Take a look back here. Still the broader picture shows, again, so we have multiple counties still under severe thunderstorm warnings, and that would include places like Coles, Douglas, Edgar, Clark, Cumberland County still under severe thunderstorm warnings here, at least for a while longer. But our main concern is that tornado warning that continues for Edgar and Coles County. Now, as you can see, at least the western half of our viewing area right now in the clear, no longer under the threat for severe weather. There could still be a few isolated showers, though, popping up tonight, but at least the threat for severe weather, it's over and done with. Great news for those of you in Decatur, Taylorville, Springfield, Chatham, Jacksonville. You're in the clear as far as severe weather is concerned. But we're going to be still seeing some issues, at least for a while longer, for parts of our southeastern and eastern parts of our viewing area. And it's mainly just east of Interstate 57 and continuing down towards I-70. That seems to be the main corridor where the most powerful thunderstorms and most intense weather is taking place right now. So still for Clark and Edgar County, still officially under our tornado warning, and it goes for about the next 15 minutes or so. We also have a concern that there could be some hail, maybe quarter-size hailstones, and some very gusty winds. So luckily our threat area continues to get shaved back over time, but still it's been a very active afternoon, a very active evening, and these thunderstorms are still pretty much holding their own, still very much capable of producing some damage as they continue to rumble through Clark and Edgar counties. So these are the two counties right now, Clark and Edgar counties. If you look around Greenup, Marshall, Paris, you're still in line as these thunderstorms are moving in your direction. So please make sure that you do seek shelter and go into that safe place in your home, because these thunderstorms are still very, very much capable of producing damage. We've seen reports already earlier today. Some of the semi-trucks were actually flipped over earlier in Logan County, close to Lincoln, because of the strong winds in association with these thunderstorms. And that's just kind of a sample of what could be headed your way, because these thunderstorms are capable of not only producing isolated tornadoes, but also to strong, destructive straight-line winds, and also to some large hail, very heavy downpours, and frequent vivid lightning. So you're getting bombarded by all sorts of nasty weather right now. And again, the worst of the worst right now continues to be for Clark and Edgar counties, as you're still under tornado warnings. And our warning continues until 7:34 this evening. So again, the radar very, very active right now. The good news, we do think the threat for severe weather should be wrapping up though later tonight, and then most of us can breathe a whole lot easier as these thunderstorms will start to taper off and wind down later on this evening. But at least in the short term, we're still seeing some very, very active weather here over the southeastern parts of our viewing area. So more storms are still rumbling. The thunderstorms right now continue as they work their way back through, again, Clark County, still seeing some rough weather, Edgar County. At least now it's the eastern part of Clark County and eastern parts of Edgar County, so continues to get trimmed down. These thunderstorms, again, are racing along so fast that it doesn't take long. You can get a quick shot of some nasty weather, and then the weather starts to kind of ease up. And that's been the case here, because these thunderstorms are just racing at speeds close to 60, 65 miles per hour. So thunderstorms are moving along very, very quickly. As you can see now, the worst of the worst has passed by KZ. Still looking at some nasty storms, though, very close to Paris, and also too around the Marshall vicinity. That seems to be some of the most active weather right now. You can see with the reflectivity mode, we're also seeing kind of a hail signature right in there around Paris and just to the north of the Marshall vicinity. Very, very strong thunderstorms here. They're capable of producing all forms and all aspects of severe weather. Besides isolated tornadoes, we could also see some very strong wind gusts and some large hail too. So it's been a multifaceted storm system as it continues to charge to the north and east. Luckily right now it's just over the eastern part of Illinois here, and we'll soon be entering over towards Indiana here. And so the folks in Indiana are going to be feeling the effects of this. And in fact, a new warning has just been issued for the area encompassing Terre Haute. So these storms again are moving along, they're just racing, and as they head off towards the east, they're going to be moving into and impacting Indiana here very, very shortly. In the short term, though, we're still seeing some of the stronger thunderstorms lined up here very close to Paris and around Vermilion, down towards around the Elbridge area, Oliver, some of the other communities. The thunderstorms are still pretty much holding their own, and there's a big batch of thunderstorms too just south of KZ, south of Marshall, still looking at lots of lightning here. So these thunderstorms are still very much packing a punch. They're not going away quietly, so still some very, very busy weather there. On the flip side though, as we take a look at the bigger picture, you can see how things have really tamed down and calmed down quite a bit around Springfield and Lincoln, Taylorville. Could be still some residual showers, although the threat for severe weather is over and done. So that is good news for you folks, but we still have issues going on here over the eastern part of the state here, from very close to Charleston and right now approaching Terre Haute, because the thunderstorms are kind of slackening off, at least in Illinois, but now they're charging over into Indiana, making their effects being felt over there. Still more thunderstorms too, south of around the Robinson area, and we'll have to see if those do anything more as far as triggering any more tornado warnings, but right now, the main game in town seems to be this tornado warning that still goes in effect for another 15 minutes. It officially goes until the bottom of the hour, till 7:30. So still looking at these tornado warnings right now for Clark and for Edgar County. Let's take a look at a different vantage point here. Let's take a look at the velocity mode to see if we can see any more circulation. Yeah, it looks like the main core of the circulation looks as if it has already just crossing over the Illinois-Indiana border and now working over towards Terre Haute. But this is the area that we were tracking very closely. It was very close to Effingham, continued to work up towards KZ, and then now it's working its way over towards Terre Haute. So definitely see quite a bit of circulation in association with that. But still looking at some heavy downpours too. Boy, this system has really been packing quite a punch, really quite a doozy. Let's take another look at the radar perspective here. Storms continue at this point, and we're still looking at those tornado warnings. Again, it's been shaved back quite a bit from what it was earlier, so I wouldn't be surprised if they might let it go all the way to the, they might be wrapping this up here very shortly as it continues to kind of wind it down here, at least for our viewing area. So again, folks, it's been a rough one. Thank you for staying with us. We want to make sure that you're staying safe, and that's why we've been on the air for as long as we have been. But luckily, the storms seem to be wrapping up here, and right now they're working their way over towards Indiana. So the main thrust of the storm system right now is going to be bearing down on Terre Haute, so it's going to be moving out of our area. So very shortly, I would imagine that this tornado warning that we have right now for Clark and Edgar County should be allowed to expire here very shortly as it continues to pull off towards the east. So that pretty much wraps it up for us. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll go back now to normal programming.